Hello, I'm Reverend Dr. Jeffrey Goodine, pastor of Church on Wheels Spoken Word out of Orange City, Florida, and this is another edition of Easter Week Presentation 2022. It is now day 6, and you call it Good Friday. Good Friday, even though something bad happened per se, but it was the best thing that ever happened to mankind. Today, this is day 6, Good Friday, which is the Son of Man has come to die. Now, all 4 Gospels have an account of this. Matthew chapter 27, verses 1 through 61. Mark chapter 15, verses 1 through 47. Luke chapter 23, verses 1 through 56. And John chapter 18, start at verse 28, all the way to chapter 19, verse 41. Now, I'm going to read to you today. Hello, Myra. Glad you could make it. I'm going to read Mark's account of this day. Jesus is before Pilate. We talked about yesterday being Maundy Thursday is when they arrested Jesus, and they came to the Garden of Gethsemane to get him. He did the institution of the Last Supper, which is what we call communion, and then today, day 6, Good Friday. And I'm going to read the Mark's account of it from the Gospel of Mark. Gospel of Mark, chapter 15, starting at verse 1. And I'm going to read from the NIV version today. Very early in the morning, the chief priests and the elders, the teachers of the law, and the whole Sanhedrin made their plans. So they bound Jesus, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate. "Are you the king of the Jews?" asked Pilate. "You have said so," Jesus replied. The chief priests accused him of many things. So again, Pilate asked him, "Aren't you going to answer? See how many things they are accusing you of?" But Jesus still made no reply, and Pilate was amazed. Now it was the custom at the festival to release a prisoner whom the people requested. A man called Barabbas was in prison with the insurrectionist who has committed murder in the uprising. The crowd came up and asked Pilate to do for them what he usually did. Do you want me to release to you the king of the Jews?" asked Pilate, knowing it was out of self-interest that the chief priests had handed over Jesus to him. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have Pilate release Barabbas instead. "What shall I do then with the one you call the king of the Jews?" Pilate asked them. "Crucify him," they shouted. "Why? What crime has he committed?" asked Pilate. But they shouted all the louder, "Crucify him." Wanting to satisfy the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them. He had Jesus flogged and handed over to be crucified. The soldiers led Jesus away into the palace, that is, the praetorium, and called together the whole company of soldiers. They put a purple robe on him, then twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on him. And they began to call out to him, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Again and again they struck him over the head with the staff and spit on him. Falling on their knees, they paid homage to him. And when they had mocked him, they took off the purple robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him out to crucify him. A certain man from Cyrene, Simon, the father of Alexander and Rufus, was passing by on his way in from the country, and they forced him to carry the cross. They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. Then they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. And they crucified him. Dividing up his clothes, they cast lots to see what each would get. It was 9 in the morning when they crucified him. The written notice of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." They crucified two rebels with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "So, you who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, come down from the cross and save yourself." In the same way, the chief priests and the teachers of the law mocked him among themselves. He saved others, they said, but he can't save himself. Let the Messiah, the King of Israel, come down now from the cross, that we may see and believe. Those crucified with him also heaped insults on him. At noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. At 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani? My God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of those standing near heard this, they said, "Listen, he is calling Elijah." Someone ran, filled a sponge with wine vinegar, and put it on a staff and offered it to Jesus to drink. "Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to take him down," he said. With a loud cry, Jesus breathed his last breath. The curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. And when the centurion who stood there in front of Jesus saw how he died, he said, "Surely this man was the Son of God." Some women were watching from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James the younger and of Joseph, and Salome. In Galilee, these women had followed him and cared for his needs. Many other women who had come up with him to Jerusalem were also there. It was preparation day, that is, the day before the Sabbath. So as evening approached, Joseph of Arimathea, a prominent member of the council, who was himself waiting for the kingdom of God, went boldly to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body. Pilate was surprised to hear that he was already dead. Summoning the centurion, he asked him if Jesus had already died. When he learned from the centurion that it was so, he gave the body to Joseph. So Joseph brought some linen cloth, took down the body, wrapped it in linen, and placed it in a tomb cut out of a rock. Then he rolled a stone against the entrance of the tomb. Mary Magdalene and Mary the mother of Joseph saw where he was laid. So today, this is Good Friday. Jesus is crucified. And then Matthew and Luke and John have the same account. He was delivered to Pilate, and when Pilate asked if he was the king of the Jews, he told Pilate, "You have said so." Now Pilate still believed that Jesus had done nothing wrong, but because he didn't want the people, he was just a fill-in, for in the Roman, so he didn't want to cause no trouble. He didn't want no insurrection on his hands. So he said, "All right, well, y'all, what is it that you all want to do? It's customary that we let a prisoner go." They said, "Well, give us Barabbas." And he said, "Well, what do you want me to do with Jesus?" He said, "Crucify him." So you remember now, some of them same people that were praising him on Sunday is now on Friday saying, "Crucify him." Now I'm going to tell you this, some of them same people in your life that with you on Sunday, they ain't with you on Friday. In fact, they never were with you. As long as the getting was good, they with you. But when things turn bad, they turn their back on you. So here we see Jesus, and they're saying, "Crucify him," on this day. Again, John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life." Now right now I want to read to you the 7 last sayings of Jesus on the cross. The 7 last sayings of Jesus on the cross. Luke 23 and 34. Luke 23 verse 34. Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. This is Jesus on the cross. Luke 23 and 43. Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. This is Jesus talking to one of the robbers that was crucified with him, that who recognized who he was. And Jesus told him, truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. And then Luke 23 and 46. Jesus called out with a loud voice, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. Then we have John chapter 19. John chapter 19, verses 26 and 27. When Jesus saw his mother was there and the disciple whom he loved standing by, he said to her, Woman, here is your son. And to the disciple, here is your mother. From that time on, the disciple took her into his home. Then we have Matthew 27, 46. Matthew 27, verse 46. About 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? John 19 and 28. John 19, 28. Jesus said, I am thirsty. And they gave us, in their jar, wine vinegar was there, so they soaked the sponge in and put the sponge on the stalk of the hyssop plant and lifted it to Jesus' lips. John chapter 19, verse 30. When he had received the drink, Jesus said, It is finished. With that, he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. So those were the 7 last sayings of Christ on the cross. Again, Luke chapter 23, verse 34. Get my notes here. I got too much going on. Luke chapter 23, verse 34. Luke chapter 23, verse 43. John 19, verse 26 and 27. Matthew 27, verse 46. John 19, verse 28. John 19, verse 30. And Luke 23, verse 46. Those were the last 7 sayings of Christ on the cross. So today is day 6. The Son of Man has come to die. It is Good Friday. Well, I'm Reverend Dr. Jeffrey Goodine, pastor of Church on Wheels Spoken Word out of Orange City, Florida. And this has been another edition of Easter Week Presentation 2022, Day 6. Good Friday. The Son of Man has come to die. May God have mercy on our souls. Hello, Audrey. Glad you could make it.